Práctica diaria de inglés. Escucha, habla y mejora tus habilidades. Al terminar, practica más en nuestra app. Gratis. Link abajo. Comienza a practicar.
I experienced culture shock when I moved abroad. I experienced culture shock when I moved abroad.
Experimenté un choque cultural cuando me mudé al extranjero.
I experienced culture shock when I moved abroad. I experienced culture shock when I moved abroad. Everything felt strange at first. Everything felt strange at first.
Todo me resultaba extraño al principio.
Everything felt strange at first. Everything felt strange at first. I didn't understand the local customs. I didn't understand the local customs.
No entendía las costumbres locales.
I didn't understand the local customs. I didn't understand the local customs. The food was very different. The food was very different.
La comida era muy diferente.
The food was very different. The food was very different. People spoke a language I didn't know. People spoke a language I didn't know.
La gente hablaba un idioma que no conocía.
People spoke a language I didn't know. People spoke a language I didn't know. I missed my home country. I missed my home country.
Echaba de menos mi país.
I missed my home country. I missed my home country. I felt homesick. I felt homesick.
Sentía nostalgia.
I felt homesick. I felt homesick. I didn't know how to greet people. I didn't know how to greet people.
No sabía cómo saludar a la gente.
I didn't know how to greet people. I didn't know how to greet people. The way people dress was new to me. The way people dress was new to me.
La forma de vestir de las personas era nueva para mí.
The way people dress was new to me. The way people dress was new to me. Public transportation worked differently. Public transportation worked differently.
El transporte público funcionaba de manera diferente.
Public transportation worked differently. Public transportation worked differently. I had trouble adjusting to the time zone. I had trouble adjusting to the time zone.
Tuve problemas para adaptarme al uso horario.
I had trouble adjusting to the time zone. I had trouble adjusting to the time zone. People behaved in ways I didn't expect. People behaved in ways I didn't expect.
La gente se comportaba de formas que no esperaba.
People behaved in ways I didn't expect. People behaved in ways I didn't expect. I didn't know the social rules. I didn't know the social rules.
No conocía las normas sociales.
I didn't know the social rules. I didn't know the social rules. I felt nervous in social situations. I felt nervous in social situations.
Me sentía nervioso en situaciones sociales.
I felt nervous in social situations. I felt nervous in social situations. I was confused by local traditions. I was confused by local traditions.
Me confundían las tradiciones locales.
I was confused by local traditions. I was confused by local traditions. I didn't understand the humor. I didn't understand the humor.
No entendía el humor.
I didn't understand the humor. I didn't understand the humor. People ate dinner much later than I was used to. People ate dinner much later than I was used to.
La gente cenaba mucho más tarde de lo que estaba acostumbrado.
People ate dinner much later than I was used to. People ate dinner much later than I was used to. Shops closed earlier than I expected. Shops closed earlier than I expected.
Las tiendas cerraban antes de lo que esperaba.
Shops closed earlier than I expected. Shops closed earlier than I expected. I couldn't find food I liked. I couldn't find food I liked.
No podía encontrar comida que me gustara.
I couldn't find food I liked. I couldn't find food I liked. I had to learn to use different money. I had to learn to use different money.
Tuve que aprender a usar un dinero diferente.
I had to learn to use different money. I had to learn to use different money. I didn't know how to tip at restaurants. I didn't know how to tip at restaurants.
No sabía cómo dejar propina en los restaurantes.
I didn't know how to tip at restaurants. I didn't know how to tip at restaurants. The weather was different from home. The weather was different from home.
El clima era diferente al de mi hogar.
The weather was different from home. The weather was different from home. I felt like I didn't belong. I felt like I didn't belong.
Sentía que no encajaba.
I felt like I didn't belong. I felt like I didn't belong. I didn't know what to say in certain situations. I didn't know what to say in certain situations.
No sabía qué decir en ciertas situaciones.
I didn't know what to say in certain situations. I didn't know what to say in certain situations. The holidays were celebrated differently. The holidays were celebrated differently.
Las fiestas se celebraban de forma diferente.
The holidays were celebrated differently. The holidays were celebrated differently. I didn't celebrate the same festivals. I didn't celebrate the same festivals.
No celebraba los mismos festivales.
I didn't celebrate the same festivals. I didn't celebrate the same festivals. The driving rules were unfamiliar. The driving rules were unfamiliar.
Las normas de conducción me resultaban desconocidas.
The driving rules were unfamiliar. The driving rules were unfamiliar. People's attitudes were different. People's attitudes were different.
Las actitudes de las personas eran diferentes.
People's attitudes were different. People's attitudes were different. The work culture was new to me. The work culture was new to me.
La cultura laboral era nueva para mí.
The work culture was new to me. The work culture was new to me. School life was different from what I knew. School life was different from what I knew.
La vida escolar era diferente a la que conocía.
School life was different from what I knew. School life was different from what I knew. I had to learn to be more polite. I had to learn to be more polite.
Tuve que aprender a ser más educado.
I had to learn to be more polite. I had to learn to be more polite. I didn't know how to behave at a dinner party. I didn't know how to behave at a dinner party.
No sabía cómo comportarme en una cena formal.
I didn't know how to behave at a dinner party. I didn't know how to behave at a dinner party. People ate with different utensils. People ate with different utensils.
La gente comía con utensilios diferentes.
People ate with different utensils. People ate with different utensils. I had to learn to be more open-minded. I had to learn to be more open-minded.
Tuve que aprender a ser más abierto de mente.
I had to learn to be more open-minded. I had to learn to be more open-minded. I didn't know how to make friends. I didn't know how to make friends.
No sabía cómo hacer amigos.
I didn't know how to make friends. I didn't know how to make friends. People didn't understand my accent. People didn't understand my accent.
La gente no entendía mi acento.
People didn't understand my accent. People didn't understand my accent. I didn't understand local slang. I didn't understand local slang.
No entendía la jerga local.
I didn't understand local slang. I didn't understand local slang. I was confused by street signs. I was confused by street signs.
Me confundían las señales de tráfico.
I was confused by street signs. I was confused by street signs. I had trouble reading menus. I had trouble reading menus.
Tenía dificultades para leer los menús.
I had trouble reading menus. I had trouble reading menus. I didn't know how to use local apps. I didn't know how to use local apps.
No sabía cómo usar las aplicaciones locales.
I didn't know how to use local apps. I didn't know how to use local apps. I felt overwhelmed at first. I felt overwhelmed at first.
Me sentí abrumado al principio.
I felt overwhelmed at first. I felt overwhelmed at first. I made some cultural mistakes. I made some cultural mistakes.
Cometí algunos errores culturales.
I made some cultural mistakes. I made some cultural mistakes. I accidentally offended someone. I accidentally offended someone.
Ofendí a alguien sin querer.
I accidentally offended someone. I accidentally offended someone. I learned by making mistakes. I learned by making mistakes.
Aprendí cometiendo errores.
I learned by making mistakes. I learned by making mistakes. I had to ask a lot of questions. I had to ask a lot of questions.
Tuve que hacer muchas preguntas.
I had to ask a lot of questions. I had to ask a lot of questions. I slowly got used to the new culture. I slowly got used to the new culture.
Poco a poco me fui acostumbrando a la nueva cultura.
I slowly got used to the new culture. I slowly got used to the new culture. I started to enjoy the differences. I started to enjoy the differences.
Empecé a disfrutar de las diferencias.
I started to enjoy the differences. I started to enjoy the differences. I made friends from different backgrounds. I made friends from different backgrounds.
Hice amigos de diferentes orígenes.
I made friends from different backgrounds. I made friends from different backgrounds. I learned to appreciate new customs. I learned to appreciate new customs.
Aprendí a apreciar nuevas costumbres.
I learned to appreciate new customs. I learned to appreciate new customs. I became more flexible. I became more flexible.
Me volví más flexible.
I became more flexible. I became more flexible. I discovered new foods. I discovered new foods.
Descubrí nuevos alimentos.
I discovered new foods. I discovered new foods. I learned new ways of thinking. I learned new ways of thinking.
Aprendí nuevas formas de pensar.
I learned new ways of thinking. I learned new ways of thinking. I learned to laugh at my mistakes. I learned to laugh at my mistakes.
Aprendí a reírme de mis errores.
I learned to laugh at my mistakes. I learned to laugh at my mistakes. Culture shock taught me patience. Culture shock taught me patience.
El choque cultural me enseñó paciencia.
Culture shock taught me patience. Culture shock taught me patience. I felt proud of adapting. I felt proud of adapting.
Me sentí orgulloso de adaptarme.
I felt proud of adapting. I felt proud of adapting. I gained a new perspective. I gained a new perspective.
Gané una nueva perspectiva.
I gained a new perspective. I gained a new perspective. I learned more about myself. I learned more about myself.
Aprendí más sobre mí mismo.
I learned more about myself. I learned more about myself. I became more independent. I became more independent.
Me volví más independiente.
I became more independent. I became more independent. I learned to respect other cultures. I learned to respect other cultures.
Aprendí a respetar otras culturas.
I learned to respect other cultures. I learned to respect other cultures. I started to feel at home. I started to feel at home.
Empecé a sentirme como en casa.
I started to feel at home. I started to feel at home. I began to understand the local language. I began to understand the local language.
Comencé a entender el idioma local.
I began to understand the local language. I began to understand the local language. I learned some cultural phrases. I learned some cultural phrases.
Aprendí algunas frases culturales.
I learned some cultural phrases. I learned some cultural phrases. I visited local markets to learn more. I visited local markets to learn more.
Visité mercados locales para aprender más.
I visited local markets to learn more. I visited local markets to learn more. I tried local dishes. I tried local dishes.
Probé platos locales.
I tried local dishes. I tried local dishes. I joined a cultural club. I joined a cultural club.
Me uní a un club cultural.
I joined a cultural club. I joined a cultural club. I talked with local people. I talked with local people.
Hablé con personas locales.
I talked with local people. I talked with local people. I asked questions about traditions. I asked questions about traditions.
Hice preguntas sobre las tradiciones.
I asked questions about traditions. I asked questions about traditions. I learned about local history. I learned about local history.
Aprendí sobre la historia local.
I learned about local history. I learned about local history. I watched local TV shows. I watched local TV shows.
Vi programas de televisión locales.
I watched local TV shows. I watched local TV shows. I listened to local music. I listened to local music.
Escuché música local.
I listened to local music. I listened to local music. I read books about the culture. I read books about the culture.
Leí libros sobre la cultura.
I read books about the culture. I read books about the culture. I practiced speaking the local language. I practiced speaking the local language.
Practiqué hablar el idioma local.
I practiced speaking the local language. I practiced speaking the local language. I went to cultural festivals. I went to cultural festivals.
Fui a festivales culturales.
I went to cultural festivals. I went to cultural festivals. I wore traditional clothes for fun. I wore traditional clothes for fun.
Me vestí con ropa tradicional por diversión.
I wore traditional clothes for fun. I wore traditional clothes for fun. I took part in local customs. I took part in local customs.
Participé en costumbres locales.
I took part in local customs. I took part in local customs. I shared my culture with others. I shared my culture with others.
Compartí mi cultura con los demás.
I shared my culture with others. I shared my culture with others. I made friends who helped me. I made friends who helped me.
Hice amigos que me ayudaron.
I made friends who helped me. I made friends who helped me. I felt more confident. I felt more confident.
Me sentí más seguro.
I felt more confident. I felt more confident. I understood more as time passed. I understood more as time passed.
Entendía más con el paso del tiempo.
I understood more as time passed. I understood more as time passed. It was hard at first, but it got better. It was hard at first, but it got better.
Fue difícil al principio, pero mejoró.
It was hard at first, but it got better. It was hard at first, but it got better. I learned to accept differences. I learned to accept differences.
Aprendí a aceptar las diferencias.
I learned to accept differences. I learned to accept differences. Culture shock is a normal feeling. Culture shock is a normal feeling.
El choque cultural es un sentimiento normal.
Culture shock is a normal feeling. Culture shock is a normal feeling. Everyone experiences it differently. Everyone experiences it differently.
Cada persona lo experimenta de forma diferente.
Everyone experiences it differently. Everyone experiences it differently. It's okay to feel confused. It's okay to feel confused.
Está bien sentirse confundido.
It's okay to feel confused. It's okay to feel confused. It takes time to adjust. It takes time to adjust.
Adaptarse lleva tiempo.
It takes time to adjust. It takes time to adjust. Being open-minded helps. Being open-minded helps.
Ser abierto de mente ayuda.
Being open-minded helps. Being open-minded helps. Talking to others helps a lot. Talking to others helps a lot.
Hablar con otros ayuda mucho.
Talking to others helps a lot. Talking to others helps a lot. It's important to stay positive. It's important to stay positive.
Es importante mantener una actitud positiva.
It's important to stay positive. It's important to stay positive. Culture shock is part of learning. Culture shock is part of learning.
El choque cultural forma parte del aprendizaje.
Culture shock is part of learning. Culture shock is part of learning. I felt better after a few weeks. I felt better after a few weeks.
Me sentí mejor después de unas semanas.
I felt better after a few weeks. I felt better after a few weeks. I started to enjoy the new lifestyle. I started to enjoy the new lifestyle.
Empecé a disfrutar del nuevo estilo de vida.
I started to enjoy the new lifestyle. I started to enjoy the new lifestyle. I found routines that helped me. I found routines that helped me.
Encontré rutinas que me ayudaron.
I found routines that helped me. I found routines that helped me. I stayed in touch with my family. I stayed in touch with my family.
Me mantuve en contacto con mi familia.
I stayed in touch with my family. I stayed in touch with my family. I joined a support group. I joined a support group.
Me uní a un grupo de apoyo.
I joined a support group. I joined a support group. I talked to other expats. I talked to other expats.
Hablé con otros expatriados.
I talked to other expats. I talked to other expats. I kept a journal of my experience. I kept a journal of my experience.
Llevé un diario de mi experiencia.
I kept a journal of my experience. I kept a journal of my experience. I reminded myself why I moved. I reminded myself why I moved.
Me recordé a mí mismo por qué me mudé.
I reminded myself why I moved. I reminded myself why I moved. I focused on the good things. I focused on the good things.
Me centré en las cosas buenas.
I focused on the good things. I focused on the good things. I gave myself time to adapt. I gave myself time to adapt.
Me di tiempo para adaptarme.
I gave myself time to adapt. I gave myself time to adapt. I tried to be patient with myself. I tried to be patient with myself.
Intenté ser paciente conmigo mismo.
I tried to be patient with myself. I tried to be patient with myself.
Gracias por ver. Suscríbete a nuestro canal y activa las notificaciones para obtener nuevos vídeos a tiempo y continuar tu viaje de aprendizaje de inglés.